Calumet Editions, an eclectic publisher of fiction, nonfiction, and poetry, introduced a new business model nearly a decade ago, in which the publisher and author work as equal partners in a joint venture. Their stable of authors have won numerous and prestigious prizes across literary forms. Where traditional publishers fail to see the value in projects, Calumet cooperates with its authors in realizing a book's potential.
Welcome. It's Writer's Corner. Back with you once again. Allan Miller hosting tonight. And to my left, far left, is Michael Allan Mallory, and author of so many books that we won't go into it. And in the center are two authors. I don't know who we have today, whether we have Cheri Johnson or Sigrid Brown.
Both.
They're both here.
Yes.
Yeah. That's an interesting story in and of itself. Perhaps you can start us off by telling us when you use your pen name and when you use your real name.
Yeah. Well, I decided to do the mystery under Sigrid Brown because I had the idea that I was also going to be doing literary fiction. So I wanted there to be kind of different expectations for the different names. So people would see a book under one name and think, oh, this is going to be one thing, and then the other. But then I had a million reasons that I was doing it too. I wanted to be, I wanted to have this sort of cloak of secrecy so I could do reviews under this other name and have this secret persona. But when the second book came out, my second book, Annika Rose, it was just too confusing because everyone was like, why is this one under a different name? And so then I told people that I was also Sigrid Brown.
And in the future?
I'm trying to decide on that, because I go back and forth, because I thought of even going back with the girl in Duluth and putting my real name on it. And then I was like, no, I think I want it to be Sigrid, and then when it's Sigrid, I don't know. I haven't decided.
My picture is in the post office under another name.
Really?
Wanted.
Oh, yeah.
It's not my writing name.
Right.
And Michael, you have written how many books now?
Not as many as you might think. I've 4, 2 with a collaborator. We created Mysteries First Zoologist, Sleuth, because we both had friends who worked at the Minnesota Zoo, and we both loved animals. But my friend on the second book didn't want to do writing anymore. She wanted to do photography. So we remained friends, but then I wanted to do something to continue writing, and so I came up eventually with the new series with the Henry Lau, Janet Lau mystery series. So those are the last 2 books that recently came out. And a lot of short stories that have been published.
What you have published?
Yes.
Yeah.
About 21, 22 short stories.
Wow.
Right.
Different anthologies and publications. But
So you're not a neophyte here.
no, because it takes a while to write a book. We all know that. And during my day job,
Tell me about it.
it got to be tough because it could take a year or 2 or 3 or et cetera. But a short story, you can do in a few weeks or a couple of months. And so that's why there was a period of 6-7 years where basically I thought, I really don't have time for writing a novel, but I'm thinking about it, but I could do short stories.
It's also,
For instance, the Tiger Claw, which is in the center here. How long did it take you to write that?
Fortunately, it didn't take as long as the first book in the series, The Lost Dragon Murder, which took 8 years because I was still working. And then when I retired in 2019, I could spend the last year or 2 getting that into shape. So this one only took about 2.5 years. But it took, 10 rewrites.
When you were working at what?
Well, first of all, I have my background in English literature degree, which, you can't get too many jobs with that. So I went back to school and got this is back in the 20th century, in electronics, but for my career, I was working in various roles in information technology, supporting email networks, software, and so forth like that. So, and a little technical writing. But creative writing was always an outlet.
But having the English background, literature, certainly was helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. The interesting thing is when I went to the University of Minnesota, and I'm reading, the greats. But I remember one time, I forgot what I was supposed to be doing, but I stumbled upon Raphael Sabatini's Kept in Blood, his famous, pirate novel from the 1920s, and I fell in love with that. And I said, I should be reading this, but I had to finish that.
Yeah.
Now, Cheri, your 2 books that are out so far, anyway, I know you're working on something else or several things.
Yes.
But basically, they're about coming of age for young women.
Yes.
How'd you get into that, and tell us about it?
It's really funny because for a long time, I feel like I was working on short stories and they were all from the point of view of men. I almost never wrote from the point of view of women, especially young women. And I felt like I was better at writing from the point of view of men, which I probably wasn't. But it may have just been because I knew if I wrote from the point of view of women, it would get more personal, and I didn't want to do that. And so when I finally decided to write these books, it was pretty revelatory because I was mining more information and stuff from my own background. And once I got into it, it actually was really hard. I feel like I was bad at it at first. Like I didn't know how to write about women.
And you talk about your background. What is your background?
Well, I grew up in northern Minnesota on the Canadian border, Lake of the Woods County. My dad worked at a factory. My mom just raised us at home. It was a very remote area. We grew up out in the country. We had animals and kind of a farm. Yeah. And then when I was 18, I came to Minneapolis for college. And after that, I sort of traveled a lot and did a lot of writing residencies all over the place.
And you have some connection with the Loft?
Yes.
And what's that?
Yes. So I actually did the Loft Mentor Series when I was still in grad school at the U of M, which was wonderful. I came in with a bunch of other writers, and they would bring in published writers from all over the country, and we got to work directly with them, which was wonderful. And then now I'm a manuscript editor at the Loft, which is wonderful. I love that. So people, write novels, stories, or whatever, and then hire an editor through the Loft.
From a remote area to the big city.
Yes.
Well, the biggest city around here anyway.
It was so big to me. That was so exciting. I loved it.
We're very fortunate in Minnesota to have the Loft.
Yes.
And we have a disproportionate number of which is what started this program, a disproportionate number of good writers, great writers even.
Yeah.
And the Loft is just one vehicle that really helps writers. You have any connection to the Loft?
Only recently, in 2023, both Cheri and I were up for a Midwest Book Award for her, which she won for The Girl in Duluth. We were one of the 3 finalists, so it was held at the Loft, and she aced me out, deservedly, but that's how we became friends.
Yes.
Was Tiger Claw the book that you had up, or your first one?
No, it was the prior one, The Lost Dragon Murder, which had been up for like several awards and won one, but didn't win the Midwest Book Awards. It's her.
I read the first line because when I became a finalist, I was so excited. And so I wanted to see the other books, and I read the first line of Michael's book, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to win. Because it was so great. And as I was reading, it was just like, it's so well plotted. The characters are interesting, and it was exciting because to be in the running with a book I admired was just made the whole thing so much
To
more
be
exciting.
in the running and then to win.
I know. It was a fun night.
It was a fun
And
night.
you and Kathy sat right behind us. I
Yes.
had my whole family like lined up, and yeah.
Yep.
And then it was right after the ceremony that we decided to do an event together at
Yes.
Once Upon a Crime.
Yeah, I mean, she won this award. We were the last category
Yes.
of the night, so we had to sit through everything. And then best mystery thriller came up. They announced the finalist. Cheri won, gave her a short speech, came back, sat down, then immediately jumped up, turned to me and said, "You want to do a signing together?" And we did.
Yeah, and it was so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the tiger's claw has an interesting concept. Where did it come from, and tell us about it?
Basically, it's the second novel that features local detectives Henry Lau and his niece, newly promoted detective Janet Lau. What it refers to, there's a murder at a knife factory, and one of the executives is killed with a new blade, which happens to be a karambit, which is an Indonesian curved blade, which nickname is Tiger Claw. And they're trying to figure out, well, of course, who killed him, but he left a dying message, apparently, and is he naming his killer?
A confusing dying message.
Yes.
Confusing dying message, but that, as Henry says, as he's presented with this is very Agatha Christie.
And having a detective with his niece working with him is kind of unique. And also there's an ethnicity. So talk about that.
Well, the reason it's uncle and niece is that I like the male-female dynamic, but often you'll see in books and especially TV shows where you have a male and female character of approximately the same age. It's always like, are they going to get together? And then, of course, they do, and that ruins the show.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that
really
to happen.
does.
Yeah.
So I made Henry is 44 years old in both books, and his niece, Janet, is 27. And so the idea is they're never going to get together because they're family. But because they're family, she knows stories about him, and he knows about her, and she doesn't know everything about his past. And so that adds a layer of complexity, and also she can share some of those stories. The ethnicity is because he's a detective, a senior detective in a western suburb, and he also happens to be pretty good at a kung fu style, which I studied and taught for a number of years. So I integrate the philosophy and some of that into the book. That's what helped form him. It's a Chinese kung fu style called Wing Chun. And so I thought that's why I made him Chinese, because he's studying that art. And so it helps pull things together.
That's interesting. And he utilizes his art in the book. Having read all three of the books, I developed a character in my series now. This coming out tomorrow is the fourth book in the series. And he, the husband of this couple, is disciplined in Krav Maga, the Israeli defense, which is not really defense, it's obviously offense at times, technique. And I did a lot of studying of it, not disciplined in it, but it's very interesting how you can weave that into your writing.
Well, thank you. And it's an interesting topic, but the other aspect is that part of the novel, a major part is I guess a secondary story is flashbacks to how he became that way. And because part of it is due to a tragedy that happened to him when he was young, and his journey to that point. So that's interspersed in there. Also, he's somewhat reluctant to do to use it when he has to. It's basically to protect people. He's not bragging about it.
Right.
He's very humble about using any skill he has because he hates violence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my character is similar, so and he uses it when he has to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And,
I love the way you make that such an intrinsic part of the story, and not just the story of each book, but it's one thing that really draws the series together. Because number one, you were talking about how it gets woven into sort of every part of the book, and I think of one thing in particular where we talk about how Henry opens a door, and how his niece notices because she's watching him, she's trying to learn from him. That theme of mentoring is going through, and he uses all these other parts of his body, and his arm is just a connecting rod. I think it's something like that. But then it also makes the idea that there's a series feel genuine, like it's not just a gimmick. It's like we're going through these books and we're learning more about him as we go. Because in the second book we learn, about that history, and it gets deeper every time. We learn it more as Janet learns it, and it just, I don't know. There's something so wonderful about that. Like you guys are making me want to write a series because I can see the joy and the pleasure of that. That idea of like these aren't just books about the same characters and like, oh, here's the same characters and here's a new story. It's like, no, it's you're writing a long story over these books and sort of deepening on our understanding of these characters, and it's.
See, what I try to do is find a social issue and then write the novel around it.
Yeah.
And so the first one I had happened to be the kidnapping of a Supreme Court justice.
Okay.
And my background is in law, so there's a lot of myself in there and experience. The second one was about property being bought up in the Dakotas by Chinese interests, particularly near Air Force bases, which, by the way, has now been stopped. But at the time I wrote it, it was a plea to stop it. And this one, this latest one, is the defection of a famous Russian ballerina.
Right.
Now, Russians are free to come and go, but she is a national treasure. And she's also very outspoken about the war in Ukraine.
Oh, wow.
So she's not free to come and go.
Yeah.
And we have to get her out of Russia.
Yeah.
At the same time, that's the husband's side of it. At the same time, the wife gets involved when her housekeeper, her father's housekeeper, gets stopped by ICE.
Oh, wow.
And she intervenes, obviously. She's an attorney.
Yeah.
She's a law professor, and she intervenes and gets herself arrested.
Yeah.
And we take it from there. So, it's the social issues that... So I'm looking for a social issue for the next one.
Okay.
And
and that can be tough because if you want to make a book, whatever you're writing, more relevant than just a simple story, you need something that has impact, that has some meaning to you and to other people. And sometimes that's easy, but sometimes that's tricky. Like, well, I already did that. I want something new, but yet the same.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Of course, 2025 was not a writing year for me. That was a hospital year for me.
Oh,
but in fact, you both saw the residuals of one of my choreographed falls.
Yes.
But so I'm looking for the next one. I think I have 2 subjects again.
Oh, good.
And we'll see what we can do with it. But
excellent.
The Girl from Duluth. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a mystery Yes, it's a mystery. It's about an 18-year-old girl. She's in high school, her last year of high school. She's grown up with just her mother, and her mother is kind of free-spirited, I guess you could say. They've sort of lived kind of hand to mouth. Her mom's always gone a lot. She doesn't know where she is. June is the character's name.
Might be calling it irresponsible to
Yes.
some degree.
Yes, I think irresponsible and neglectful are words that could be applied. And so June, the character, the high school girl, has learned to kind of take care of herself. Always also has to kind of take care of her mother. So her mother goes missing, and it's difficult for her to get other people to worry about it because her mom often goes missing. But June feels like something's different, and it turns out it is.
But something is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she has to figure out what happened to her mother, why it happened, and everyone's trying to get her to stop asking questions because they don't want her to find out what she eventually finds out.
Yeah. Is there anything autobiographical in that book?
Yes. And this was something that sort of came up when I started to write the book, and I was just thinking about this girl who'd grown up in a single parent family, and that was not my experience at all. I had two sisters and my mom and dad. But I had to find a way into this character. What's my connection to her? How do I write about her in a way that feels authentic? And the whole thing in the book about June's mother, her name is Tanya, not wanting to work a regular job and always wanting to do these sort of odd jobs and not work at the factory in the book that employs a lot of people in town. If you don't work at a resort, you work at the factory. And that was the case in where I grew up, where a lot of people worked at the Marvin Windows factory. And that's where my dad worked, and he absolutely hated it. So he tried, when we first moved to northern Minnesota, he tried to do a lot of odd jobs and construction and that kind of thing, but it didn't work out. It's hard. It's a poor county. People can't pay you. Sometimes, one time he did this whole job, and the people didn't have the money to pay them, and so they gave us a cow, and he had relied on the money, and so eventually he got a job at Marvin Windows, but he hated it and was there for 20 years and was miserable. So the story in the book is really like what would have happened. I'm thinking of it as imagining what would have happened if the parent had decided not to do the responsible thing.
It's very different from Annika Rose.
Yes.
Do you pronounce it Annika or Anika?
Annika.
Annika, okay.
Yes.
So I have
That's
a question.
how I pronounced it.
I have
Yeah.
a question for Cheri on
Sure.
that. Annika Rose is a coming-of-age story.
Yes.
As you've mentioned, it's based or inspired by Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, I read Rosemary's Baby. I started to read it when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I got to that first scene. I don't know if you guys have read it or seen the movie. Got to the first scene where they move into the apartment and they see that the people before them have pushed a heavy piece of furniture up against a closet door. And someone makes a comment like, what was she trying to keep from getting out or whatever? And I closed the book. It was like terrifying. So I couldn't read it. And but I wanted to read it. There was something about it that I wanted to read it. So I read it 10 years later, and I was able to do it. Like, I didn't get scared. And it was funny because when I read it as a teenager, it was the jump scares and it was the idea of these witches and all the stuff that terrified me. But when I read it 10 years later, it was the idea of a husband betraying his wife that way, like, letting these witches take her over and have her raped by the devil. And to me, that was the terrifying thing. And so it really sort of fired my imagination.
So how did that come into this?
That's the story of Annika Rose, which is about a husband who betrays his wife in a similar way. And I was interested in exploring the idea of how that would be possible. Yeah. Because in Rosemary's Baby, they don't really explore it. He's a struggling actor, and these witches are like, we can make your life better if you let us, conjure up the devil and rape your wife. And he's like, okay, And for me, I wanted to dig deeper into what in a relationship could lead to that, what kind of person would do it, and what would the fallout be.
Now, that was a 2022 book.
Yes.
Duluth. This was a 2024 book.
Yes.
Annika Rose.
Yeah.
And the 2026 book.
That is the one I'm working on now. Is a collection of. I have a million ideas, but I think the newest one is going to be either a fiction chat book with 2 stories in it, or a slightly longer collection of stories, if I can write the new ones that I'm thinking of.
And are the Laos proceeding with their next adventure?
I'm slogging through it. Yes, there is a 3rd book and a 3rd murder that they have to solve, but yes. The thing that I enjoy most about them, of course, the mysteries, I try to make them fun and interesting, but it's the relationship between the 2 detectives that really...
It's very important, that relationship.
It's key to the books. It's the most fun part to write.
Yeah.
So, yes, there will be a 3rd one.
So the second one, it starts like a month after the first one ends.
Yes.
Which is really neat. I love the way you do that with, the first one ends with the fight. Janet gets kicked in the head, and then in the new one, we see her suffering the effects from the concussion, and that's just such a nice continuity. Can you tell us when the 3rd one starts?
When?
Or will it, if it gives too much away?
It's going to be about 4 months later.
4 months, okay. Interesting.
I do the same thing with my series,
Yeah.
except there are several years between them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had, I think, 6 years between the first and the second. It's a technique that I follow from William Kent Kruger, who has moved us along for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I just found that very effective. But
I like how it ties into the social issues things too, because when you were talking about that, I was thinking about how powerful that is. We see these headlines, we see what's happening with the Supreme Court, with land grabs, with all that kind of stuff. But when you write about it in a story, but when you write it about it in a story and you're talking about the characters, that's how we know how it actually impacts people's lives, and that's powerful. So I can think of that. I think of that in terms of your books and being like, oh, let's see what's happened in the world since these years have passed, and that's really neat.
And we have talked our way almost through this entire interview already.
Wow.
So, last thoughts.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us both here. It's been fun, and I had one last question for Cheri.
Oh.
We're talking about, real quick, is there any kind of surprises in either book that you wrote, a little scene or something that you didn't expect or you're particularly proud of?
Yes. In Annika Rose, there was this moment when Annika is being followed by somebody, and she remembers this dream that she has, which is a dream that I had. And I almost try not to write about dreams, but I did anyway, which is this dream that I have. I'm walking down the gravel road of the house I grew up in, and these wolves are surrounding me, and they're walking next to me. And I think, like, as long as I don't run, I'll be fine. They won't chase me. But the inclination to run is so strong. I'm always like, what if I just do it, And then they'll chase me and they'll attack me and whatever. And that showed up in the book, and I loved that paragraph so much. And it became a sort of touchstone for me as I was revising. I kept thinking, this is how I want the whole book to feel, is how this paragraph is. So it was this wonderful surprise that helped me revise the whole book and get it where I wanted.
Allan Michael Mallory, Cheri Johnson, at least that's the personality we have today. I thank you so much for joining us here on Writer's Corner, and good luck to both of you in your future ventures.
Thank you, and thank you
much.
so much for having us. This has been wonderful.